Welcome back, guys. Today I thought I'd drop a video letting you guys know that I am back. I plan to release probably 2 or 3 videos a week. And if something special comes up, then I may increase that. But just to let you know that I'm doing fine. No major issues. Next checkup is in January, so right now I'm just enjoying my time without having to deal with any doctors and things like that. So everything's going well, keeping my fingers crossed, and hopefully I will get to upload 2 or 3 videos a week. This first video is basically just going to outline what I am doing within Linux right now. Now, over the last few months, I've been trying to maintain stable distributions. I didn't really want to do a lot of tinkering. So, this is one of the distributions that I'm running on a daily basis, and this is the latest version of Debian stable. It installed easily, although, as you know, Debian is a little bit more challenging to install. But the install went along very nicely. The only thing that you have to manually handle, that most distributions currently handle for you, is a driver installation. Now, I have a Broadcom Wi-Fi driver and my NVIDIA video card. So I have to install those drivers manually. But for someone who was just starting out, that's probably a little bit of a stretch. But, of course, I've been doing it for a while, so I had no issues. Once I loaded those drivers, rebooted, everything is fine. So I'm running what is still probably my favorite desktop environment, that is LXDE. Although it is being eliminated with the new Ubuntu 18.10, it's the first Lubuntu that ships or installs with the LXQT desktop environment. I actually prefer LXDE. It's probably because I've used it so many times and I'm comfortable and familiar with it. But LXQT is also fairly easy to handle. If I were just starting out in Linux, I'd probably go with xfce. But the new 18.10 versions of all of the Ubuntu flavors are out. And for someone who is just starting out, that's a really nice place to start. So this is the Debian install, LXDE, and I'm just going to go over some general information, and then I'll go through some of the other. I cut back on the amount of hard drives in my computer, and so I am just running 4. I'm running 4 distributions right now, and I'll go through those with you. So this is the first one I plan to review, and I'm going to jump into the next one, guys, and I will be right back. Okay, guys, welcome back. Now, this particular distribution should be familiar to you. This is the latest Lubuntu 18.04. This is the last release with the LXDE desktop environment. The newest 18.10 is going to the the LXQT. So this distribution just runs rock solid all the time. Now LXDE is a little bit harder to configure for a new user. And as I mentioned, if I were starting out in Linux today, I'd probably go with Ubuntu or one of those kind of plain vanilla type distributions that make the transition from Windows a little bit easier. Now, one of the things, this is kind of a comical thing, but the new Lubuntu 18.10 is introducing a character called Lenny Cuttlefish. Now, Lenny has been Lubuntu's mascot since the beginning, and for most releases we have taken the Ubuntu mascot and fused it with Lenny to make it its own unique and fun release-specific creature. So this is the Lenny Cuttlefish, and so that makes it even more special for me. Now, as you can see, I modified a Lubuntu wallpaper. This is one of the standard default wallpapers that come with Lubuntu. And I added Mr. Little Lenny Cuttlefish here. So this is number 2 of the distributions that I'm running on this particular internal hard drive. It's a 1 terabyte SSD. So I've got plenty of room on it. I'm running 4 distributions. This is number 2, and I'll be right back in number 3. Welcome back, guys. Now, as you can see, I am in Manjaro. This is actually a release candidate of their latest xfce. So this will be the next official release. I installed it. And you know, in the past I've mentioned that when you're dealing with a release candidate or a beta release, would not make it your daily driver or commit any type of sensitive files or things that you're concerned about losing, because anything can happen with a beta or a release candidate. But this particular Manjaro, I did want to run an Arch distribution. I started off by running Swag Arch, because I always enjoyed Swag Arch. So I loaded that up and had no issues with it. But then I saw this release candidate come out, and I also have been paying attention to Manjaro moving up the leaderboard on DistroWatch. So I wanted to see what their new distribution was like. Now, in the past, I've had some concerns with Arch, especially for a new user, because things can happen with the updates. And then, I had an issue with my NVIDIA card at one point that was a real difficult one. And I would not want to see a new user have to deal with that. So, for new users, I think I'd try one of the other Ubuntu, Linux Lite, Peppermint Linux, maybe one of those that is an easier transition. Even elementary, just something that might be a little bit of an easier transition for a person coming from Windows into Linux. But I did go ahead and install this, and I have to say that I was extremely impressed. I think Manjaro has really raised the bar as far as distributions. Now, I have to say that installing Manjaro this time around was as easy as actually easier than it has been in the past. I didn't have any issues. I had one minor issue. And if I go to, I want Manjaro Settings Manager. If I go to Manjaro Settings Manager and I take a look at hardware configuration, I'm running the 390 driver because that's what NVIDIA says I should be running with my particular GeForce GTX 1050 Ti. However, Manjaro actually installed this one, which, as you can see, doesn't really have a label. But it was I forget what the number was, but it was a 3-digit number, like a 410 or a 470, something along those lines. And when I went into the NVIDIA, and by the way, it ran fine. I had no screen tearing, but when I went into the NVIDIA website and gave them the specs on the card, they said I should be running 390. So I went ahead and uninstalled this one that was installed out of the box, and then I installed the 390, and no problems at all, no hiccups at all. Excuse me. So this distribution is rock solid, really is. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. I've got an update here, and I'll show you how easy it is to update the system without any issues. Okay, so it's telling me that Manjaro xfce GTK3 settings needs to be updated. So I'm going to go ahead and apply the update. And normally in the past, of course, with Manjaro, you've got frequent updates. But in the past, I have had absolutely no problems with any of the updates. And as you can see, this one installed very, very easily also. So out of the box, the distribution is absolutely fantastic. All the basic utilities are there, and they've got a lot of Manjaro-specific utilities. This is xfce, and as you can see, aesthetically, it's absolutely outstanding. I really like the appearance of it. It's rock solid. I haven't had any issues whatsoever. Highly recommended. So when this release comes out, I expect that it's going to be very popular. And again, the xfce is a fantastic desktop environment for someone making the move from Windows to Linux. So guys, I'll be right back with the fourth distribution. Okay, welcome back, guys. Now this is distribution number 4. Not sure if you can readily identify what distribution it is, but it happens to be Voyager, which is I believe it's a French distribution, and it is based on xfce, as you can see. It's basically an xfce desktop environment. Now there are a lot. Voyager happens to package a lot of their own type of utilities. So, for example, in the panel, you have a drop-down terminal, notes, weather app. So there's lots of things, lots of bells and whistles. But one of the reasons that I like it, and also as you can see, it's got some utilities built into the left and right panels. So on the right panel, for example, there's something called, let's see, is it box? Yeah. So in box, you can see that there's lots of control options: wallpaper, conkeys, blank, colors of the icons, security options, reparation. Let's see what reparation is. Okay, so it's basically system utilities for purging and getting rid of your cache. So lots of things that they have developed within this distribution. But the real reason that I like this distribution is that it just runs rock solid. No problems whatsoever. I've been running this now for a few months, and I can't not think of one hiccup. It installed fine, no issues. Terrific for a first-time installer, although when it comes to support, the website is in French, and you have to have Google translate into English to be able to ask questions or check configurations or just look into some issues that you might be having. So, so to wrap this up now, 4 distributions: Voyager version 16.04, based on xfce. Excellent. Lubuntu 18.04, absolutely fantastic, no issues whatsoever. Debian, stable. I was running the LXDE desktop environment on that. Again, it's a little bit more difficult for a new user, but an experienced user who has some experience manually installing drivers, it's absolutely fantastic. And right now, I would say the most impressive distribution from start to finish is Manjaro's flagship xfce install. Now again, I'm running the release candidate, so when that new official release comes out, I would highly recommend you take a look at it. If you want to run an Arch distribution, that's a great place to start. So just want to wrap up by saying health-wise, everything's pretty much stable. Basically, it's one checkup at a time, so I'm good till January. The doctors are very optimistic and confident. In the last 6 months, I actually moved to an area where I had some family located, but also has terrific doctors and treatment centers. So I'm taking advantage of that. They actually changed some of my treatment options. They're doing a little bit of holistic. There's a group of antioxidants that they've developed that I take on a daily basis that shows some promise in fighting cancer and destroying cancer cells. So I feel great. I'm going to try to do 2 or 3 videos a week. Let's hope we stick to that schedule. I'm happy to be back, and I hope you guys enjoy the videos that are upcoming. I'm going to do some instructional things for basic Linux tasks that new users may have some difficulty with. But I was at a relative's house yesterday. They have an older laptop running Windows 7, and wow, I could not believe how much faster Linux is, especially on older equipment. So I have just about convinced them to let me install Linux on their laptop. So we'll see how that goes. But guys, thank you very much for your patience and your support. I'll be back shortly with some other videos, and I hope you enjoy them. So guys, thanks for stopping by the channel today. Please rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Take care.